This is Christmas with all it brings. Joy and the knot. For some it's tough. For others it's the best time of the year. With their family.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook, and as usual I'm going to be interviewing a musician about what they do that makes the world a little more harmonious. This is the second time I've interviewed my friend, singer, trombonist, composer, just all-round good egg, Ashley Slater. You can find out more about Ashley in the show notes, and also I've reviewed his latest album, which is what we're going to be talking about, and it's called Merry Jazzmas. And what you're listening to is his track, Hello Christmas Time. I hope you enjoy listening to this and to our conversation. Hello.
All right, mate. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Better than I expected.
Good. Still in Germany?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, Germans are funny, aren't they? Funny people and Germans. But we were just talking about genau. So if you want to say, wow, that's amazing. You did incredibly well there. You go, genau. And if you say, oh, I really love blah, 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 anything, genau. So it's very kind of a bit dry, which suits me. I like dry. And
Yeah.
I have a lot of German friends who've got great sense of humor, so it's not like they don't. Anyway.
Anyway, here we are, and we are going to talk about Merry Jazzmas.
Merry Jazzmas, I know. Yeah, I didn't think of that name, but it's not bad. I mean, there's no jazz on it, but in that sense, it's like a jazz festival. One token jazz band on at 9 a.m. But yeah, but there's probably some flavors of jazz, you know.
Oh, there definitely are.
Well, I mean, Bellamy comes in with a beautiful solo,
doesn't he?
He's always great, isn't he?
Yeah.
Can't beat Bellamy.
No, you really can't. You can try, but yeah, no, he's a good one. I have to confess, Christmas Hymn sounded to me like you were going to launch into something, that it was going to start off like that, and then you were going to launch into something raunchy, and you never did. It's just beautiful.
Oh, thank you. It is pretty, actually. That one and Every Child.
I know.
Took me about 3 days to record the vocals because I kept crying when I was trying to sing.
Yeah, Every Child is beautiful. It really is.
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, the album came about. I've been talking to this guy, Dan Graham, who runs a very successful library label, and he does trailer music, which is not music that you play in mobile homes. It's like what they have, you know, when they're this week in cinema, be more terrified than you've ever been before. All that kind of stuff. And they have all this music with sound design, basically, a lot of sound design. And a couple of times I pitched things to him and he just went, mate, you're just so far away from it. He said, I don't, just do what you do because you're good at that. And I mean, it is a specialized thing, making trailer music. I've got friends who spent, 3-4 years doing it before they finally got one away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all big thumps and percussion and all that kind of shit. And then suddenly it isn't, you know, it might be something else. But in maybe February, Dan and I were just chatting and he said, hey, I've got an idea for you. Could you write me a Christmas album and have it ready for the 1st of July? I was like, yeah, sure, man. Of course. Like, I felt he was throwing the gauntlet down a little bit there. He's like, oh, you never do this, mate. Never do this. It's just, you know, said 10 songs. I said, all right. And then I did absolutely nothing. Um, I thought about it. I thought about it. I just thought about it. But not too much. Just it was there, like when you probably when you ever
Yeah.
right, you just let it float around for a while, collecting neurons and forming pathways, and then you spit something out. And then I think in June, May, I think at the beginning of May, I said, okay, I'm going to write it now. The thing is, I don't really love Christmas because it just feels like a super high pressure time. And when you've got kids, it's even worse. You've got to, especially if you're kind of living with the kind of person who likes to give their children all of the possible toys in the world. Um, and for me, I don't really like that. Um, but there's a certain type of English person who just has to do that. I've never liked waste. And Christmas seems like a very wasteful time. So I had to really think, like, okay, what do you like about Christmas? And of course, kids and Christmas. I like that and their excitement and everything. Um, so that's like songs like, Santa's snoring and things like that. I absolutely know kids will absolutely love that because, for a start, nobody's ever written a song about Santa Claus falling asleep under the tree and then farting and snoring. I know that for a fact. You know what I mean? So it was just
Yeah.
just find a way in. And I wrote one a day, and then if I had time, I would do some other work after. And then I sent Dan the demo with the 10 songs, and he went, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! This is like way too good for library. Let's give it a commercial release," which was very flattering. I was super happy with that. And then I got the remote sessions, which was great. I mean, I'm quite pally with Mark. It's funny, I never really knew Mark Fletcher in London because he was kind of a different scene to me. But actually, I really like the guy. I mean,
Yeah.
and he's very much an acquired taste, I think, but I just happened to acquire that taste. It's got a good sense of humor. And it's so funny. I mean, if you look at a picture of Mark back then in the 80s, oh, teeth. Now he's got no hair, no teeth. But he still plays great. And Mark, do you know Mark Edwards?
Yeah, I do.
Um,
Yeah.
he's a sublime musician, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I've had the privilege of doing a few quartet show gigs with him, and he's just so inventive, but full of the language. He understands so many musical idia. Is that the idioms? Um, so you can always rely on him just to do something that's right.
Yeah.
So my mate Dave Lynch owns a little studio down in Eastbourne, and I was just like, mate, can I get in there for a day with Mark and another day with the other Mark? Brilliant. It was so easy, and Dave did something which was super cool. Dave Lynch sent me. I said, mate, if you can be honest, just send me a drum mix. I can't really fucking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mixing drums is boring. So he did. He sent me a drum mix. That was brilliant. I had a stereo pair, job done. Um, and then a couple of other mates, just for this and that, like Ballo, who, is my brother from another mother, really.
Definitely.
Go back a long way. And
And Gary Ellsberg's trumpet is lovely, isn't it?
I really like Gary's playing. He's very super fluid. And as somebody who has half-assed been playing the trumpet for about 4 years, I mean, I do a lot of brass sessions and I do trumpets and trombones. A lot. I mean, really quite a few. Considering there's not really that many sessions around. I mean, obviously you get, big budget records, and you'll see everybody up at Abbey Road, but it's really fun, like layering up 4 trumpets and 3 trombones or 4 trombones, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so when I listen to Gary play, I'm just like, ugh. I hate you very much. And there's lots of others. I mean, Quentin's an absolute monster on the trumpet. Loads of people are in
Yeah.
case, but Gary's kind of got this something a bit modern about his playing without resorting to going, to the outside thing all the time.
Yeah.
Just nice and beautiful sound.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've never really come across him. I only know him from Instagram,
Right.
and only in the last couple of years. But it's really nice. I love the way that I was kind of waiting for this from 1988 when I got my first computer. Was that thing like I have no outboard gear. If you go into anybody's studio, there's racks and racks of shit all turned on, doing nothing, eating electricity. I've got nothing. I've got an audio interface, a
Yeah.
computer. I've got the world's smallest speakers, and I've got this thing which is like a driver for Logic and
Right.
keyboard. And that is my studio setup. Made that album in here on this gear.
And that's crazy because I mean, it's a proper Christmas album. It really is.
It is, and when I send it to people, I say, look, this is family friendly. I'm deliberately didn't put any big, silly Ashley kind of surprises in it, like loud noises or anything. So you can literally just have the thing on in the background, which is pretty good for me. For me, that's a win. Nothing on this annoys me.
No, I mean, it really is beautiful. Right. At this point in the podcast, I would like to play a little bit of Every Child because I really think it should get played lots and lots. It should be on all the radio stations and everything, because I think it's about what we're talking about right now, which is children should not be involved in any of the stuff that's going on around the world.
I know. That's what I was thinking about when I wrote it. I mean, I'm a sensitive soul. I have close connections to Ukraine, and of course, what's going on in Gaza.
It's awful, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
God, if that was us, if that was our kids, it's just horrifying.
When I was a little boy, carols rang a joyful noise. Christmas time was so much joy, and snow like diamonds, dreamy moments, all those gifts beneath the tree. There was no way I could see. I'm glad I felt love and peace, mom and dad, family, grateful for all that I had. Every child should smile and feel love on Christmas Day. Now I'm older, time moves fast. I don't linger in the past. Christmas time is still a joy. I have all those memories, golden reveries. These are all the gifts I need. Precious moments I can't keep. I'm glad I felt love and peace, mom and dad, family, grateful for all that I had. Every child should smile and feel love on Christmas Day. All those little moments that you share.
A war goes on, and there's always some war going on somewhere, and there's war in Sudan, and there's war in the Congo Delta, and there's but it's just ugh. Oh, and I think the older I get, the more it, it affects me, not the less. I mean, some people when they get old, they just turn into horrible reactionary old Tories, don't they? But
Yeah.
I've managed to avoid that. I've still got my soul, and I'm still touched by life and humanity and all of that stuff. So yeah, thank you, Hillary. That's really sweet that you picked up on that about that.
It's just a beautiful, beautiful track. It really is. And the message behind it is so important. It really is. And all of the, like you say, all of the commercialization of Christmas and all the rest of it, that doesn't matter. What matters is children deserve to be safe and, with
Love.
their loved ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you've done a really spectacular job with this album.
Thank you so much, mate. I mean, God, we first met in what, 1970?
79, 70.
Maybe, Joe, where I
Yeah.
completely wasn't making the parts. I remember Bill stopping the band once and going, "These guys are great. You are nowhere."
Well, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, that shit. I could never play that. I mean, I could, but I don't want to. It doesn't. I love big band music, but I like it when it's kind of sexy and Oliver Nelson and Nelson Riddle,
Yeah.
big George Roberts, baho, baho, on the bass trombone. That's what I like. I don't like necessarily like
Yeah.
all the time. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
No, absolutely. And I think there's a place for everything. But I think what's nice about this album is it's got some really lovely kind of horn parts and some sectional stuff
Yeah,
that's just really sensitive.
it's classic. I'd say it's
Yeah.
tasteful, which is two words you would not normally associate with me.
No, and you're absolutely right. I have to confess, when I first listened to this, I was expecting that, because of course it starts with Santa snoring,
Yeah,
and it's like, well, it's not about him snoring, it's about him farting,
yeah.
under the Christmas tree, and it's. I was expecting the whole album to be like that, comedy, kind of a little bit tongue in cheek and everything, and those sensitive moments, and that it is just beautiful.
Thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate that. Honestly, I'm really touched by your kind words. I
It's
am.
all right. Tell me about one. I have one question for you. At the end, I'm going to play "Home for Christmas" because that should be. I think I put this in my blog. That should be every radio station in the world should be playing that on Christmas Eve because that's what we all kind of want. Whatever home means,
Yeah,
that's what we want for Christmas.
where your heart is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that got me all crying here. I
Oh.
think I'm a bit sensitive at the moment.
But there's something on the end of that, a sort of penny whistle or something like that. Who's
That
that?
friend. Now, I mean, this is another thing. There's some. I mean, I've known Ballo since I joined Loose Tubes, which is, I guess I got out of the army in 82 or 83. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day, Maria, my wife, about how I got out of the army in Edinburgh, moved to London, went on the Goldsmiths course on orchestral studies. And I mean, honestly, within 12 months of me landing in London, I was in the coolest band in London,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
absolutely insane if you think about it. And then, John Cumming from Sirius Productions took a shine to me and he got me, he gave me some really tasty gigs, Carla Bley and George Russell, and
Yeah.
some really hip stuff. And I really love him for that. It's funny when Freak Power got famous, and I said, "Mate, I'm going to have to go off and be a pop star." And he said, "Oh, actually, you only ever think about yourself." Well, yeah, guilty, but I'm going to be a pop star. I find it hard to be a sideman because I either because I'm massively talented or I have a huge ego. I suspect the latter. Um, but lately I have been doing some sideman stuff, and it's quite nice just to sit back and play trombone. And I'm musical director for an Amy Winehouse tribute over here, and we had our first gig kind of 2 weeks ago. I put a lot of work into that and rearranged songs, and just like Lisa, the singer, she was like, I don't really like this one. And I said, well, maybe you don't like the feel, so I would suggest something else. You go, oh yeah, I would like it. So we did that, and I put the work in. I mean, honestly, since I've moved here, I never procrastinate anymore. Never. Germans don't procrastinate. And it's been a good influence on me. It's like I get a gig in, I do it. I don't, I mean,
right.
We were talking about the writing process of the album and how I had to process it, but I don't think that was procrastination. That just was processing.
Right.
It's good. I mean, I know lots of people my age who have been in the business and left. And I really like still being in it. It's my world. It's the only thing I know. If people say to me, what do you do? I say, I don't do anything. I'm a musician. That's what I am. And thank God I still have the opportunity to do stuff. But going back to the Amy thing, I'm friends with a couple of guys who were in her band, including Dale, the bass player. And I've sent them some of the live mixes that I've done, and they've all come back and said the same thing. He said, mate, what a lovely band. I want to play with it.
Yeah.
All around a Hammond, which wasn't necessarily an instrument that featured heavily in Amy's sound, but I've got this other band, Heptet, which weirdly, anyway, I mean, I've been doing a lot of horn arranging lately and learning a lot about it. I still don't really know anything. I mean, I know there are people who can sit down and write a big band arrangement without going near a keyboard. I'm not that guy. Definitely not. I have to hear it and play with it and mess around with voicings until it feels like the right thing. So I don't take. I've always wanted to avoid doing everything kind of like by rote because I knew how to do it. Does that sound weird?
No.
Sounds a bit stupid, but I mean, I've got a sound. And I've got a sound on the trombone, I've got a sound on vocals, and I've got a sound that I make when I produce music. And it can vary, but I think people always know that it's me.
Yeah.
And for me, that's probably the most precious thing a musician can have is a recognizable voice.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I've just interviewed Kim Cypher.
Yeah.
And as soon as I heard the track you were on, I was like, yeah, I can hear that's Ashley.
Yeah, I know. It's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, even on the trombone, which is very weird, but I remember doing a gig somewhere a few years ago in England, and a trumpet player I hadn't seen for years, he just came around the corner and he went, I knew that was you.
Yeah.
Right away, That's, I don't think there's anything better for
no.
I wouldn't say I'm a jazz musician, but when I am a jazz musician, that's so important, to have that. That's Ashley.
Definitely. One of my absolute joys is how many times Jazz FM plays Freak Power.
Turn on, tune in. I know it. That is a classic record.
It really is.
And I'm not lucky that I was on it because there was a path.
Yeah.
Like when Loose Tubes was kind of ending, I wanted to, well, basically I've said it before, but I wanted to stop playing to Guardian readers and start playing to Sun readers. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And that was my brief, basically. Stop playing to a bunch of navel gazing white middle class people and see if you can break out a little bit. And that's how Microgroup was formed. It was like this crazy funk band with an electric tuba. We played to a lot of people.
Yeah.
To a lot of people. We toured a lot. We did a lot of gigs, like really a lot. And the people who were in that band have gone on to have fairly moderately spectacular careers, really. Dale was my bass player, went on to play with Tina Turner and MD Amy's band. Tony Remy, my guitarist, went on to play with everybody. He's just the greatest guy. He does a lot of work with Sarah Jane Morris at the moment. They made an.
Oh, right.
You should probably talk to her.
Yeah.
You interviewed her.
No, I haven't.
I think she got this sisterhood project where I think they did 12 tracks, all kind of homages to Joni and just singers that Sarah Jane likes.
Okay.
I can connect you if you like.
That'd be great. Yeah, do that.
Absolutely, with pleasure. But it's an ambitious project, and Tony produced it, and we're all enjoying our dotage, I would say. A lot more maybe certainly than I ever thought I would. I mean, I don't have any other plans, only to keep doing this until I can.
Yeah.
But you saying those kind things about those songs, that's there's nothing better than that. The approbation of a fellow musician is priceless.
Oh,
it really is. I mean, it's great if my mum says she loves it, but when somebody like Mark Edwards, even, he said, "This is," I sent him the record. And he was like, "This is such a great album, mate."
It really is.
And I mean, it is library, but it's going to be on all the streamers and all that. So you never know. I mean, for me, probably the best thing that could happen would be like Mike Bubble does a cover of one of my songs, or Greg Polka,
Yeah.
one of them guys. That would be good because, I mean, let's face it, I'm no longer in the running to be any type of star, and that sits fine with me. Although, having said that, I've got a couple of Freak Power shows coming up in Prague late next week, and I'm really looking forward to that. Tony's going to be there. Dale couldn't make it, but got quite a significant number of the original band with me.
Right.
And that's great too. And I mean, that's another wonderful thing about what we do is you have all these families scattered around for, bands that you played with, and they are always your family.
Yeah.
Any changes.
No, that's true.
So, they say you can't pick your family, but I've been lucky to have been included in some wonderful families over the course of my life, and I'm eternally grateful for that. Really.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, and I have to say, Ian Bellamy does such a lovely job on this, and he really is. I always think of him as like your brother.
It's funny, we just hit it off instantly. I mean, I can tell you that I went to a Loose Tubes rehearsal, and they had no plans for bass trombone. It was 3 trombones and tuba. And I went along and absolutely loved what I was hearing. When I was at school, the albums we listened to were MF Horns 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And Chicago, which at that time was still quite a gritty band. And Earth, Wind and Fire, so all us brass.
Yeah.
Loved those, what was going on there. It's very weird because I wasn't even the best trombone player at my school. And my school was like in a little mountain town with a population of 2,000 people. So people came from all over the county to go to that school, high school. But I mean, they were better trombone players in the freaking big band. I don't really know what happened, how I got anywhere.
Well, because I have a theory. I am absolutely, definitely not the best saxophone player in anywhere. In my house possibly, but that's about it.
Just about,
yeah. Yeah. But there's something about the music, the musicianship, and the getting close to the soul of the music, and there's something about that I think if you can do it, because I know loads of musicians who are loads better than me, but it just doesn't quite happen.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. I really know what you mean. I was doing, I mean, and they're like stunning players. They can read fly shit, they can play it, and all that. But I'm gonna mention a name, but bleep it out if you want to. Simon Gardner was doing Denny Illett's Jimi Hendrix project, and we had a week at Ronnie's. I remember like halfway through the week, he's just sat in the dressing room and he said, I've never done a band like this. Just really like it and like the music and everybody, the energy. I mean, again, that band isn't full of all the London A-team by any stretch. I was in it. But it's something about the vibe. And I found that very touching, very, it touched me quite deeply when he said that.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I'm not the best, but I've had some good times.
Absolutely.
Great people. And just, I've hardly ever done anything I didn't want to do.
No.
Who can say that?
Yeah.
I mean, I've paid for it. I'm not rich, but I don't give a shit. I mean,
you'll be as rich as the next man on the day you die,
Exactly. I don't own a house, but I don't want a house. Ugh. Fix the windows or put a new roof on. Oh, no. Not for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know exactly what you mean.
Literally, if I've got my trombone and my trumpets and my computer and a microphone, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I need nothing else.
Yeah. You're a wise man, Ashley Slater.
I don't know about that, but something.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah. And I tell you what, I mean, genuinely, I mean, you've seen the review that I wrote. I loved this album.
I just hope more people get to hear it. I mean, I really sending it to everyone. I sent it over to Jazz FM, and heard nothing back from anyone. And those people I know.
Right.
Maybe I was a bit premature with it. I don't know.
Who did you send it to?
Well, I sent it to Christian.
Yeah.
Who's like the
programming guy. Yeah. Because I'm going to mention it to the couple of the DJs that I know, the presenters that I know, and
please.
I'm just going to point them to my review and then say, you really need to listen to this. And
I think you're right, because I've got to say, okay, I'm not like at the center of the jazz scene, but that is as much my scene as any other, and I'm in a lot of scenes. I'm quite lucky like that.
Yeah.
I've played in practically every possible situation I think that somebody like me could play in.
Yeah.
And I've like, if you look through my Facebook friends, there are DJs and there are musicians and breakbeat producers and this kind of producer and that kind of guy and pop guys and blah, 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 blah. Because I've had a large but thin effect, let's say, on the music business in general, in the UK. I definitely feel like I'm part of a lot of it. And yeah, anyway, I think Jazz FM should be playing that record because it's bloody good. And there's nothing cynical about it.
No, nothing at all.
And that, to make a Christmas album at my age and not be cynical, that's a thing.
It is. It's special.
It's special.
Yeah.
It really is. God, you made me cry and everything, Hillary, you devil.
I'm proud to know you, you know, really.
Oh, hey, I'm really glad we're still friends after
Exactly.
all.
Oh, yeah.
There's hardly anyone I'm not friends with. Do you know what I mean? Who I've brushed against in my time. Very few people I would cross the road to avoid.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Oh, well, listen, thank you so much for joining me on my podcast again.
Hillary, thank you very, very, very much. I mean, there are enough musicians in the world. You certainly don't need to interview one twice. So I'm really flattered.
Thank you for joining me once more for Harmonious World, and that was an episode chatting with Ashley Slater. And his album Merry Jazzmas is out now. This isn't a particularly jazzy track, but it's lovely, this Home for Christmas.
Working hard.
And I hope you have a really harmonious week.
But you have been with me deep inside my heart. And now it's time to make my way back home. Home to you. Will I make it home today? Will I make it home to you? Will I make it home in time for Christmas? Traffic's
Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hillary Seabrook, and it's a great delight to bring this series of discussions with musicians and composers and writers and all sorts of people to you. Obviously, there's no point in having a podcast if people aren't listening, and I'm very grateful to my listeners for doing so. Thanks also to Joe English for composing and performing this new theme tune. So wherever you get your podcast, you can leave a review. You can share this with your friends and family, either as a link or on social media and that sort of thing. I'd be really grateful for that. Don't forget that you can subscribe now. There's a link wherever you get your podcasts. So have a great week, and please remember why I started this, which is just to try and make the world a little more harmonious. Thanks for listening to Harmonious World.